Okay, so still Tuesday. This is video 4, and we're talking about hope.
We're talking about hope. And ironic, really, because both Steve and I are now sat here in black. I wanted to wear my t-shirt just because I wanted to, because you always wear trendy t-shirts, Steve, you see. So I've got my Ankh on, but actually it's perfect because the Ankh is a symbol that is on my spray, which is linked into hope. So actually I did that subconsciously, I didn't even realise. But yeah, we're both in black. And in a way, we're in difficult, challenging times in the collective energy, and we have to have hope. We have to have hope in the future. So that's what this video is going to be about. And I think just to help us, let's just spray this. And this is an olive green energy, and it links into the divine feminine, which we've mentioned a few times.
People, I've never had my aura polished so damn much as I have today.
Yeah. It's good, isn't it?
And at least we're not hopeless.
No, we're not hopeless. Hopefully not, anyway. Now you see we laughed. Now that isn't that good, because actually
laughter is the best
laughter is the best medicine. But look at that colour. It's like a lime green, an olive green, and that contains yellow. And yellow is the energy of laughter. It's the energy of the sun, of happiness. And God, the world needs a laugh at the moment.
My catchphrase is negativity can't exist where there's humour.
No, it's true.
If you can't laugh, you're screwed.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
I'm just going to sneeze.
Yeah, that's all right.
That's what sprays do to me.
That's good though. That's clearing, Steve. Oh, he's going again.
Oh, goodness me. Right.
Okay.
I think that's some.
Ready to roll?
I think so.
Ready to roll? Okay.
So,
well, what should we... Yeah, you go.
Hope for the future. We can always look back and say, yeah, okay, well, we hoped it would work out, and it did, or it didn't. But, you know, there's a classic saying here. The past is history. The future is a mystery. This moment is a precious gift in time, which is why it's called the present.
Yeah.
Now, we always live for the moment. You never know what could happen in the next 30 seconds.
No.
But
you might sneeze again.
I might sneeze again. Or an airplane could come through the front window. Bad joke. But we can influence the future.
Yeah.
There's ways of doing it by working with the various techniques that we as practitioners of our arts we can influence people's choices so that they make the best choices for themselves. Yes, that's part and parcel of what we do. But there's also the potential for hope. And by hoping for a good future, we can influence the future. It may be just to 1%, but that's enough to give us to tip the balance sometimes.
Yeah. Particularly in a world, and I want to bring in the media here. The media, this big structure, this organisation, worldwide organisation, which is feeding us negativity on a daily basis and is trying to bring us down to a very depleted energy. And even more so, how important it is to retain that energy of hope and not buy into a lot of what is being told to us. Because the media only ever portray the dark and unpleasant stuff. You know, wouldn't it be refreshing, Steve, to open up a newspaper and it would be a happy story? You know, how many times does that happen? But how many times does it lift you when that does happen? I'm trying to think of a positive story at the moment that's lifted me that I've seen on the media. Of course, there will be some, but
TED Talks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No, normally they're
quite good.
Yeah.
But the reality is, more often than not, it's stuff that is going to bring you down, whether it's happening in your local community or your country or the world. And, you know, it's like a tide that's just coming in the whole time.
Well, when we talked about religion, we talked about how it's essentially a misogynist culture that's controlled and working with techniques of domination to try and keep people down and subdued.
Yeah.
With the media, you know, when you look at the people who actually own the media, whether it be the television companies or the social media companies, and particularly from a British perspective, the newspapers. I mean, all the people who own the newspapers in Britain are tax exiles. They don't pay tax. They live abroad, so they don't have to pay tax. And they all have political agendas. So, you know, you have to be selective of what you believe. And there is this kind of, it's not deliberate, I don't think, but there is this almost, I don't do conspiracy theories, but there is almost this agenda of keep the people dumb, keep them dumbed down, keep them tired, depressed, you know, outrage them with the latest celebrity gossip or complain about Brexit or Trump or whatever.
Yeah.
To stop them addressing the real issues
The
in the
thing
world.
is, though, Steve, nobody can take hope away from you. I'm thinking of people who've been in extreme situations that, God forbid, we will never be in our lifetime. I'm thinking about being in a concentration camp or something like that. And the people that survived were the people that held on to hope. That is the truth. And to embody that, whilst around you, you could only see darkness. Again, back to darkness and light, aren't we? But they held on to that light within themselves, that hope. It's just, it keeps you alive, actually.
Sometimes, you know, when I'm dealing with clients and they're 7 or 8 months into a 9-month-long Saturn transit,
Okay. Yeah.
right, and they've been hammered and hammered and hammered into the ground.
Yeah.
And then I say to them, look, you've got another month to go.
Yeah.
1 more month.
Yeah.
And there is light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not the oncoming train. And you see them, I say within a month you're going to start feeling lighter, and you can see the shift in their energy when you tell them that. And yeah, it's a little bit of kidology because you tell them it so they believe it, and then they go away and practice it, and of course that makes it happen.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it does happen anyway. So yeah, there's... You've got to inspire people.
Yeah, and another thing that's in my head as we're speaking is the fact that we always seem to look for external sources to give us hope. You know, great leaders or role models. And of course that is important. Of course it is. But I still feel that it has to come from within. Because it's like when you wake up in the morning. You can wake up and you can think, oh God, another day, got this to do, that to do, washing up, blah, blah, blah. Or you can wake up and you think, I'm actually going to have a good day today.
And you talk about role models.
Yeah.
Earlier on, we were having a conversation, you and me and other people, about the real role models in this world, and they're not the sports stars or the pop stars or the politicians.
Glad you brought that up. Yeah.
They're the bus drivers, the street cleaners, the teachers, the nurses and doctors, the child protection officers. The unsung heroes of the world, and you know, if I was to dedicate this video to anyone, it would be to those unsung heroes who give their time and energy for the public service. And yes, they get paid for it, but they do it for the public. And these people are the real heroes of the world.
Yeah, they're handling candles of hope. They really are.
Yeah.
And they don't even appreciate that probably even they're doing that. They're
No,
just going
I
in
get
and doing their job and doing it very selflessly, but they are.
And they're being of service to the greater community.
Yeah. So I think it's really important just to look around, you know, your own life maybe, and look at the positive things.
Find the joy.
Find the joy. Find the positivity. Find the people that you love to be around. Find the things that you love to do. Do things that nurture your soul. You know, all of this feeds this whole energy of hope, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, because we have to counteract this other, what I call this tidal wave that feels that it's just there relentlessly every day, which is to do with the collective consciousness, with whether you like it or not, is heavy at the moment. It's heavy, you know, and it's lightening. Thank God it's lightening, and that's our job to also help do that. But we have to also acknowledge what we're up against. It's a dense world. This is a dense planet. It's a heavy planet to be on at the moment.
Now,
you know, it's a lot lighter than it used to be. But
when people come to me for the first time and I'm describing what I'm going to be doing with them, I always say to them, look, we'll have a look at the past. We'll have a look where you are now, and then we'll look forward. But I won't make predictions.
No.
I'll give you timings and areas, and what you do with it is up to you.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people come to people like me and you in the hope that their future's going to be better.
Yeah.
Now, the future hasn't happened, and it's always going to be ahead of you. But it's what you're doing right now that influences the future. So positive PMA, positive mental attitude, laughter, even through the tears, goes a long way towards inviting a much more positive future, both individually and collectively. Now, I don't know where you're coming from with your guides and your help, but I can see certain long-term trends. And when I say long-term, I'm not talking hundreds of years or even 50 years. I'm talking 5, 10,
Okay.
perhaps 15
Yeah,
years
yeah.
into the future. 25 years from now, I'm probably not going to be around. You know, I'll be 90 by then. So I don't know that I'll be around. So, but I'm seriously concerned about the state of the world at the moment. So I want to try and bring in some type of positive outcome.
You see, I'm not. I'm just going to challenge you there. Okay, that's what it's all about, isn't it? That's what we're doing here. Because I genuinely don't walk around thinking about the dire state of the world. Despite what I've just said, that yes, it's a dense planet and all the rest of it, I actually do have a very positive vision of the future. Isn't it what we were talking about earlier? It's in terms of what you focus becomes reality. So if you're walking around thinking it's getting darker and darker and darker and heavier and heavier and heavier, it becomes that. Your reality absolutely becomes that. Whereas my reality is sort of feeling, I know it's heavy at the moment, but I actually feel it is getting lighter, and it is going to get lighter, and it is going to get lighter. And I don't think that's denial. That's my reality. It's what I choose to focus in on. And I can see it in terms of the people I come into contact with, the beauty out there. Even on a rainy day, my old boss always used to say, hated when people used to say, oh God, it's a rainy day. You know, how horrible is that? How beautiful is it? I'm assuming it's not flooding, Steve. But you know, how beautiful is it? We die without water. You know, it's all the perspective.
There's a German stroke Austrian painter who's one of, he does brilliant work. His name's Hundertwasser.
Right, that's a mouthful, yeah.
100 water.
Oh, okay, yeah. Hundertwasser. Yeah, okay, Hundertwasser.
And there's a museum into him in Vienna. He built, he's a complete abstract painter. His colours would make Metatron.
Yeah. Oh,
check him out.
I will.
Hundertwasser.
Vienna.
Yeah. Hundertwasser.
Hundertwasser.
Wasser. And he said that every raindrop is a tear from heaven.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just thought, how lovely.
Yeah.
And yeah. So one of the things that happened yesterday, for example, is on the news in Britain yesterday. There was a story of how last year there was 4 or 5 days where no coal was consumed in Britain. That the entire part of Britain, whole of Britain, was powered by wind.
Yeah.
The whole of Britain was powered for a whole day by wind. There was 4 or 5 days last year where that happened, and it's getting better every year.
We had gales, didn't we, recently?
We did have wind in Britain. Yeah. So we're becoming self-sufficient on wind, and we are leading the world on this. But then you get countries in India which are doubling their coal mining, and that's leading to environmental pollution. So you have to. There's swings and roundabouts here. But there is hope.
There is hope, but I also see it as the younger generation coming through. It really is. I think, to be honest, we're both. I'm in my 50s.
I'm in my 60s.
You're in your 60s. Okay, you get a little bit jaded, don't you, as we get older. But the thing is, I live with. I've got youngsters. Okay, so I've got teenagers.
Yeah.
And that enthusiasm for life, that zest for life, everything is new. That's what the world needs, and that's the beauty of the cycle of life, because every generation can come and make a difference. And I think this new generation that's coming, the next 2 generations in particular, I think it's going to knock the socks off the ones that have gone before.
Yeah, I totally agree.
They're just not going to stand for a lot of the stuff that we've stood for.
Realistically, within 20 to 30 years, I honestly believe we are going to have things, for example, like a global currency.
Yeah. I don't know about that, but yeah.
Probably crypto, something like Bitcoin or something similar like that.
I'm undecided on that, but I'm hearing you out,
we will have very few left national borders.
I see that. I know that's contentious, but I believe that. A lot more sort of industrial services. All right, it's run out of battery. We'll go with you.
A lot more industrial services are going to be globally connected, power sources and things like that. I do think we're heading into a more global community.
Well, we're heading into unity consciousness. But
that's a nice way of putting it.
It's a way off still, But I'm talking generationally way off. I'm talking about my lifetime. Do I expect to see a borderless world in my lifetime? No. But do I expect to see it maybe in my grandchildren's lifetime?
Yeah.
Possibly starting to see it in different parts of the world.
If we get that far.
If we will get that far. Again, that I want to bring in the angels there, you see, because to me, they're always there in the background, stopping mankind from doing what it is capable of doing, i.e. blowing up the planet, or, you know, leading us into utter devastation. There is a divine that holds the planet and holds us, and I feel steps in when we overstep the mark in terms of stripping natural resources. You could say that moment is now, Steve, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah,
you know?
But as an environmentalist,
yeah,
because that's where I'm at.
I know.
You look at just in this last 12 or 24 months, look at the weather patterns.
Yeah, I know. Well, Earth changes. I mean, that's another thing we can talk about maybe another day. But I mean, that is a huge subject. I've looked at it a little bit on my channel, and the guidance coming from all of the angelic realm, the celestial realms, is we've got to get ready. We have got to get ready for these Earth changes that are coming, and that's not to scare people. Again, it's tough love. They're wanting to help us to prepare. We don't live on fault lines or anything like that in this country, do we?
No.
The UK is a pretty safe place to live.
Well,
but
until we started fracking.
But you know, but no. In all seriousness, there are parts of the world that are hot spots at the moment, and people need to be prepared. I've talked a little bit about making grids, you know, sacred geometry, making safety grids, things like that, crystals. It's intention, but also sometimes a little bit of common sense. Do you want to be living on top of the volcano? Personally, no, I wouldn't. So there's a bit of human responsibility that has to come in, but also a bit of divine support and intervention as well. It's a tough old subject, that. But
so let's just take it right back to the start.
Yeah.
When humans got off their knuckles
Yes.
in the Kenyan plains about 1 million years ago, and started sort of grunting collectively, and became at the first vestiges of intelligence, somewhere along the chain of the evolution from some type of hominid, we developed this capacity for rational thought. And that sets us apart from any other species on the planet. And unlike any other species, we can laugh, although I suspect that cats and dolphins have a weird sense of humour. We can laugh at ourselves, we can recognise ourselves in a mirror. Many species just don't do that. Most species just don't do that. We have the ability for self-reflective consciousness. Now, the fact that this is all separate to any other biological life form that's ever existed on this planet actually gives me hope for the future, because it seems as if we're on a course that's different to anything that's ever happened before. And if we're on this course, it's not just, well, it is random, but there is an end goal in sight.
Yeah.
And that's some type of transcendence or nexus point into an evolutionary leap, probably as much of consciousness as it is of physicality.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying an evolutionary leap, and I agree with that to a certain extent, but I also want to bring in a revolutionary...
Re-evolution.
It needs to come in as well, because even though all those positive characteristics you've just talked about us having in terms of rational thought, etc., we've never been more controlled than we are right now.
But only by ourselves.
By ourselves,
by our own species.
We've allowed ourselves to become controlled.
Sheep.
So that's why I'm talking about revolution. Peaceful revolution, but revolution all the same, because it has to come from the individual that stands up and says no more. You know, what do you mean I can't do X, Y, Z? Or, you know, the control, again, media, all of it, all has to collapse. And I'm sure it will do in time. Again, divine timing. But so revolution and evolution together.
We were out for dinner last night, and there's a really good picture of us together on Facebook. Okay, not that I subscribe to Facebook, but there's a good picture of us up there. But last night we were just sort of quick firing stuff across the dinner table. One of the things that come up is one of my pet sayings: the difference between human beings and humans being.
Yeah, do you want to explain that to people?
Well, human beings are basically what are called sheeple.
Yeah, the sheep,
Humans,
the lemmings.
Humans being are those who are conscious and take responsibility for every action and every reaction that they make.
And that's tough, and that's hard. It's hard to do.
You have to constantly remind yourself.
Yeah, but that is the spiritual path, and it's not fluffy, is it?
Not
it's not
anything but. It's like you're responsible for your actions.
Yeah.
You're not responsible for other people's reactions.
No.
If they choose to be upset with you, oh, you shouldn't do that, or you made me feel, it's like, why are you wasting your time with those people anyway?
Yeah.
Because that's guilt. You can't be doing with that.
No.
But you are responsible for every single thing that you do. And no one can make you feel or oblige you or guilt trip you into doing something. You choose.
Have you read the book Zero Limits, Steve?
No, I haven't.
Joe Vitale.
I know of it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. You know, the thing where you have to take 100% responsibility for every single thing in your life. Every single thing. Every person that triggers you, you have to look within, heal it. The first time I read that book, I'm on record for saying this, I think I threw it across the room because it is so hard to do. Everything in your life you are accountable for. And that is why, again, I want to bring the angels back in, because I don't feel we can always do it alone. I don't feel we can do it alone. I think we need the support of other energies that are there to remind us that it is possible. That it is possible to hold these high ideals, to be able to forgive, to have compassion in the face of anger, all the rest of it. Because humans aren't very good at it.
I'm going to shock you now.
Yeah, go on then.
One of the three most influential books I've ever read in my life,
Yeah.
that had the most profound effect upon me, is a story of a guy and his encounter with his angel.
Oh, there we go. You see, this is the guy who said he doesn't do angels.
You've probably read it.
I don't know if I have. Is it 5 people?
No.
I mean, no, not that one. Which one is it?
It's the follow-up to Jonathan Livingston Seagull. It's called Illusions.
I've not read it.
You've not read Illusions by
I've not-
Richard Bach?
No.
Illusions.
Right, I'll get it.
Okay.
And why did that book touch you so much then?
Because there's a number of parables stroke sayings in there which are so common sense. For example, here is a test to find out if your mission on planet Earth has been successful, if it has been completed. If you're alive, it hasn't. And it's like, okay, that's clear, right?
Yeah,
And
understand that, yeah.
Yeah, and stuff like that. And the little sayings like that, they really get to me and they make me realise, well, whose life is it? Like I said earlier in another video, one world, 6 billion, it's one planet, 6 billion different worlds. We all are responsible for our perception, but we all perceive things as differently. Like you're seeing us, but we're seeing you. And I'm seeing it from this point of view, and Amanda's seeing it from this point of view, so we're seeing it ever so slightly different.
And also I want to bring in that book I just mentioned, 5 People That You Meet in Heaven. Is it Mitch Albom? Do you read the book? It's basically this beautiful story, and it's all about one man's life. He dies and he doesn't think he's made a difference. He doesn't think he's made a difference. And then he meets 5 people in heaven that he had an encounter with during life. Didn't have to be a particularly long relationship, it could just have been a little encounter. And it was pivotal. It was a pivotal thing, that, connection. And he realises his life obviously had huge significance, as every life has huge significance. And I think there's so many people out there that look at their lives and think, well, I'm not doing that, or I'm not doing this, or look at her, look at him, judging themselves, putting other people up on pedestals, whereas every life has value. And every moment, actually, you do have the opportunity to make a difference. And it can be, I live in Bournemouth, so there's a lot of old people that live here. And you see them going out, little old lady down the street to get her paper in the morning. It's probably her only exposure to people during that day because she's lonely. It is as simple as a smile, saying hello to somebody.
Oh, smiling makes such a difference.
It sounds such a
Smiling
cliche.
at people,
but it's
they
not a
smile
cliche.
back and their faces light
and
up.
it makes you feel good, doesn't it?
It does.
So.
We're stuck here on this planet. You only got the one chance, so you might as well make the best of it and do the best you can. And you might as well hope for the future instead of being negative, because it is going to impact on you.
It'll impact on you, it'll impact on your life, it'll impact on those around you as well. That's a whole other subject. If you're holding negativity.
We all know so many emotional vampires.
Of course we do, But the thing is, Steve, if you hold the energy of hope and joy, it's infectious, actually. For some, they can put steel-forced reinforcements around themselves and not feel it. But most people, it's infectious, isn't it?
I do a little ditty every year. Smiling is infectious. You catch it like the flu.
Yeah.
I started smiling at someone one day. They started smiling too. and it's all about
Yeah.
getting the world infected with the smile virus.
Well, it's the laughing Buddha thing. No, laughing Buddha. The man on the train who gets on the train. You've seen the video on YouTube, and he starts singing this wonderful song, and everyone, it's like the London Underground. Everyone looks at him like, "Who's that idiot?" You know, he's obviously off his rocker. And then they start to hear the music, and they all start to sing. And then he gets off the train at the next station, and the whole carriage is singing. And then he gets on the next train, and they're all po-faced, you know. And he does it, and it's that simple.
Like one song like that can change the world.
Yeah.
For example, Michael Palin, always look on the bright side. Eric Idle, sorry, always look on the bright side of life.
Yeah.
That has resonated around the whole world in 30 years.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it.
Can I also just say though, because it's important to say, all of the great comics, they have got a dark side. The people that make us laugh are usually the people often who are in the most pain.
I've done so much work astrologically on this. I've got the horoscopes of 100 of the great comics, and so many of them are caught up in pathos,
Tommy
and
Cooper,
grief.
somebody like that.
Spike Milligan, Morecambe and Wise, Billy Connolly, even the young ones. They're all Bob Hope, Lucille Ball.
We're back to light and dark again. You know, the mixture of both within. But which do you feed? Which do you feed?
The stuff that gives me hope.
Yeah.
The stuff that makes me joyful. I am a joyful individual. I want to be more.
But I think we also have to say, are we feeding ourselves things that give us that hope? Well, that's just a question for us, but it's also a question for people watching, because it's easy to say these things, but then we keep doing repetitive behaviours, we get into addictions where we know are not good for us, and they deplete and they deplete and they deplete, and they're not about hope.
Regardless of your age, folks,
yeah,
regardless of the age of you watching this, the next decade, possibly two, is absolutely pivotal for the whole of humanity and the whole of the history of humanity. Everything's escalating to this point in the next couple of decades, and it is going to decide the long-term future. So come at it with hope, because what have you got to lose?
Plus, I also will say, even more immediate than that, leading up to 2020. You know, the big one. The big one. I mean, do you want to say just a little bit about that, Steve? Because
we're running out of time.
Okay. That's for another time, guys. But
Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto conjunction.
2020, yes. You know, I'm coming at it from an angelic perspective, a celestial perspective, which is just, it's another, well, no, it's not just another one of the dates. It's a big date.
This is
huge. It's huge.
Evolution.
Huge wake-up call time, massive. Evolution, all the rest of it. So, again,
let's do a live streaming workshop on that.
Yeah, we could do, couldn't we? Yeah, okay, we'll do that if people are up for that.
Right,
sure
we're going now, but we've got one more to do, and it's going to be a cracker.
Yeah, bye-bye.
See you there.
Bye.